Well, hello. I'm Dan Lutz, and welcome to the latest broadcast. I was answering some more people about the musical poll. I don't actually know how to read the poll, or even if it actually made it out onto the video that I put out yesterday, whether you like the intro music or not. If I can't find it in the background of YouTube, but they're doing a changeover to the different back offices, so I don't know if that has anything to do with it. But anyway, it's a feature to allow you to add a poll to a video. Anyway, I've not been able to see, but I do think that the majority of the yeses that they like the intro music. So we will continue with that. So I will though want to go over a couple of things I found that I thought would be very interesting to start off with. Let me go ahead and cue this up for us. This is if I can find it. Where did it go? Interesting. I think it took over the channel that I was on. I had this all queued up. Sorry about that. Maybe it's on a different. That's what it's, a different page. There we go. All right. So what I'm going to show you is actually from a very old Charlie Chaplin movie. I think it's very important in the context of what we've been discussing. So I'm going to go ahead and play. It's in the last 10 minutes of the film, the last 9 minutes of the film. And I'm going to now share this with you. Go ahead and switch this over. Share my video. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and play this. Now, what this is basically called The Great Dictator. Let me go. I'll slide down. Charlie Chaplin, The Great Dictator, 1940. Okay. This is really a kind of mocking the Nazi movement and Hitler and everything along those lines. The idea being that he is Jewish and he becomes the dictator over the Nazis. Now that's what it's compared to. It's not that called that in the film, but obviously you can see the references and the clothing and everything are very similar. So we're going to go ahead and play this right now. And I'm actually going to play it at a faster speed than normal. So if you want to go back and go, you'll be able to go ahead and increase it. Now I'm going to actually play at 1.5 times speed. So make it a little bit faster for us. So let's do it.
His Excellency, Herr Garbage, Secretary of the Interior, Minister of Propaganda.
Corona venia directus. Victory shall come to the worthy. Today, democracy, liberty, and equality are words to fool the people. No nation can progress with such ideas. They stand in the way of action. Therefore, we thank the abolitionists. In the future, each man will serve the interest of the state with absolute obedience. Let him who refuses beware. The rights of citizenship will be taken away from all Jews and other non-Aryans. They are inferior, and therefore enemies of the state. It is the duty of all true Aryans to hate and despise them. Henceforth, this nation is annexed to the Tomanian Empire, and the people of this nation will obey the laws bestowed upon us by our great leader, the dictator of Tomania, the conqueror of Austerlitz, the future emperor. What?
You must speak. It's our only hope. Stand up.
it is written, the kingdom of God is within man, not one man nor a group of men, but in all men, in you. You, the people, have the power to create machines, the power to create happiness. You, the people, have the power to make this life free and beautiful, to make this life a wonderful adventure. Then in the name of democracy, let us use that power. Let us all unite. Let us fight for a new world, a decent world, that will give men a chance to work, that will give you the future and old age a security. By the promise of these things, brutes have risen to power, but they lie. They do not fulfill that promise. They never will. Dictators free themselves, but they enslave the people. Now let us fight to fulfill that promise. Let us fight to free the world, to do away with national barriers, to do away with greed, with hate and intolerance. Let us fight for a world of reason, a world where science and progress will lead to all men's happiness. Soldiers, in the name of democracy, let us all unite!
There we go. These are very important words, right? Even back in 1940, for that information, it came out just when we're talking about World War II, right? In the midst of World War I and World War II, this mindset was already being laid out, for people to understand what was going on, right? During the World War II, the concepts of what we're dealing with are happening to us right now, right? Fascist dictatorship, but across the whole planet. And it actually is the continuation of the Third Reich, what now called the Fourth Reich. This is the moving of the German infrastructure of Nazism out into the world in a covert means, brought into the governments of, say, the United States and other countries as well. And these people became powerful, influential people, right? Because they were smart, right? And then, hey, Germany is defeated. Okay, now you come over. You're going to work for us. No, Germany was not defeated. Yeah, the tanks ran through. The country was occupied. But the idea of what they were trying to do through socialism continued. Yes, socialism. It wasn't about the Nazism. Now, the only difference between, say, socialism and Nazism is that they brought race into the mix, right? And from the standpoint of purification outright in the front. Now, this is something that is still part of what's going on with our current situation. They are looking at genocide, of wiping out races, but all the races. So they're not looking to save humanity. They're looking to wipe it out. So this plan was brought about over many years of planning and convincing the people of the world that we're overpopulated, that we don't have enough resources, and that the earth will die at any moment unless we take action against the foe, which is the people. So we have to kill off the people. And through all of the different systems that they're putting out there of means of ratcheting it back over here, all of them across the board were to build up to a point where they would take over. And just as in Nazi Germany, they actually removed the guns before then they actually started to take over the country, take over the people and eliminate the people. Then the people had no means of defense. Same action plan. Anywhere you go, remove the guns from the people, and then you can take them over. All for the good reason of saving the planet, because the planet, right? I remember watching a George Carlin, comedian George Carlin saying, if the planet has a problem with us, it's just going to shake us off, right? Just bump us off. No biggie. But the planet doesn't really have a problem with us. Only a certain segment of the people that have set themselves aside from us are in that position of saying, We're in control, and we think that we will now have this great cleansing of the planet, and we'll run it much better. We'll be respectful of all of the world and not harm it. Or will they literally consume all of it because they don't care? They don't care. If you think they care, that's not what they've been trained to do. They haven't been trained to care for anything. They've been trained to care for nothing, not to love. So how do you think that they're going to now care for the planet? It's just the opposite. It's the mirror. It's the projection, right? They're going to do the horrible thing. Who's the ones that are actually destroying the planet are the ones that are telling you that the rest of humanity is bad and needs to be destroyed. They're the ones that are don't care, and they'll do all sorts of horrific things to the environment. I actually belong to one of the very first. It's the very first environmental group, the Isaac Walton League, defenders of the air, waters, and soil. The first one to lobby Congress back in about clean water back in the 1970s. It was a grassroots organization coming from the farmers and the hunters and the fishermen, saying, "Hey, we've got to protect our resources here. We have to be good stewards." That was a bottom-up organization. There was a problem out in the world where the people, boots on the ground, were there, right? Said, "Oh, we've got to take care of this." Had a meeting formed, moved that up to the next higher level in the group, right? And they've brought other groups in together, say, "Oh yeah, then we can bring resources in, and this is what we have to do," and they solved the problem. Stopped pollution of lakes, rivers. So those are as a type of organizations. Those organizations are bottom up, really can make a difference. The ones that are top down are so mired in the politics. They look from above down on everyone and say, "Oh, this is what we're doing. We're saving the whales. We'll collect money, collect money, collect money, collect money." And how exactly are they saving the whales? All of these organizations that are looking to solve a problem from the top down have a very big problem. They're mired into all of that politics. They want to stay in those social circles. And since the power is up there, they will fall in line. And they will even get into the blackmail situation, where they will actually fall in line with what the cabal wants. Greenpeace, though I don't believe in their politics or their a lot of it, but they are a bottom-up organization and have made a lot of impact. They draw attention to things, which is very good. So this system that we're now looking to go up against needs us all to rise up, and we need everyone to do it now. and it's do it in a non-violent way. Do it Gandhi style, non-participation in their systems. Now, we have to be strategic, obviously. We have to do things that are going to make sense. We're not going to stop buying food, right? We need to eat. We're not going to stop going to work because we need to get the money. We have to do it in ways that have now been laid out. And right now, what that is developing our own information sources, digging into our own stories, laying out what needs to get done, from the grassroots, and raising that up. But we need to have structure. And that's one of the reasons I've spent the time to create the Where We Go, When We Go All.love website, WWG1, WWA. .love. And so that site is up and running. So I do encourage you, there's a lot of people that are signing up but not completing all the steps. There's 4 steps, slide down. Hey, Tank.
Hey, man.
So there's 4 steps there. Please complete all of them because that actually allows our emails to go. If you get to after there's first the make an account. Second is choose your access level, and there's a free access level. And then the third is to connect your emails, right? So that we have our email connection whenever I post a blog or something that we need to communicate. It won't end up in spam and somewhere. And it's one of the main features there is you first send an email to this email address, not the other way, not coming from the organization to you, from you to the organization. That actually, in some instances, will add the email of the site to a whitelist on your system. Right? So when it comes back, it's already it's already whitelisted. But if you do have a whitelist, it asks you to go ahead and add it to the whitelist anyway. Any of these things, because these are all levels of which the system is dialing back the emails that they don't want you to see. I'm telling you that it is 100% that not all the emails that are coming to your email address make it even to your spam box. Whatever they decide they're not going to deliver, they will not deliver. So it's like the mailman deciding that they're going to say, well, this is just junk mail. I'm just going to throw it in the trash. Well, that's a federal offense in the mail industry, right? If you're in the U.S. mail postal system and you're going to actually decide not to or even destroy mail, it's a federal offense, federal crime. But they do it. They decide, and I know this for a fact. It's not like a guess, because part of dealing with the cryptocurrency Kringle coin for the last 3 years, there was a certain point where Yahoo, Hotmail, Yandex, all decided they're not going to put it in spam. They're just not going to deliver. They refuse to deliver. You never even know that email was coming to. But if you start by sending an email, that's a big difference, right? Because you're an individual emailing out to someone. So anyway, that's and I actually have it connected to a Swiss-based email system. So that actually also helps. But in the background, Google is taking over a lot of the mail systems. And if you leave it all in the hands of Google, they will decide at some point that you just don't get to send mail that they don't like. So already you can't do things on all these social media platforms that they don't like. They will cut you out. And this is just the beginning. It's getting worse already. They had, there's a list that came out of 501 websites that they just took out. Boom. So anyway, Tank, I started actually with a clip from a 1940s Charlie Chaplin film, The Great Dictator.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. And he gives this really amazing speech, because during the film of The Great Dictator, of course, it's a mockery of like Hitler and Nazis and things like that, right? He's mocking it.
Mm-hmm.
But he's actually Jewish in the film, and then he rises to the level of where they're going to make him emperor of the world. And then he says they put him up for this big speech, and then he gives this speech, and he says, "I don't want to be emperor of the world. I want to do good things for everyone, including
The New York Times
Jews."
published Trump's taxes from like 30 years ago. You might ask.
Interesting. Decided just to unpause itself. So anyway, yeah, it's an interesting piece. So that's why I brought it up, because it was about him now standing up to give this speech, and when he gave the speech, he didn't do what everyone was expecting in this cabal group, right? They were all, for empowering this guy to become the emperor of the world, right? And then he said, no, I don't want that. I want to do good things. And so that's why I started. I actually took it from someone in one of the comments from I think yesterday's video had said this as a link, and it's a very good piece. I remember it from a long time ago, seeing this film. So anyway, I brought it up and went through it. I did play it at 1.5 times speed, though.
It's for,
well, it avoids also copyright issues too if you're doing it at a different speed, and otherwise you have to make commentary about it. You have to have breaks. There's all sorts of weird rules on how to do it, but that kind of cuts through. But we are making commentary on it anyway. So, how are things going, Tank? Any news? Let's see. We get through the news updates in the beginning.
Well, nothing significant that I can report on at the moment. I will say that the next step at this point, we're not waiting on anyone outside of Kim, so to speak, because Kim is currently, programming the system so that we can, so that she can, bypass any human interference, which has been the goal, because it is obviously misguided human beings who would dare block a transfer for project funding for, feeding people, feeding children, providing housing, providing clean water. The individuals who are between, those projects and actual funding who are willing to block it, they've lost their sense of humanity. So I don't even think that's necessarily an accurate way to say it. We want to avoid those people, I guess is what I'll say. And I guess I just, if you've opted out of humanity by making these decisions to commit genocide, you're no longer really part of us, right? You're part of something else.
Right.
So, and that's a choice that they have the right to make, right? We are sovereign. We're free, so they have that right. And but that kind of forces us to make sure that they can't really function in this world either. So those things are happening. Kim set it up a while back that if they
Steve and Dave used
try to block.
Sorry, I was just lining up the background screen for for the chat so I can see what's going on, and the ad started playing. So
that's okay. Yeah. So the people that are involved in doing this, she made it a long time ago that if they were directly involved, that they wouldn't be able to open a bank account anywhere, right? So every time they make these decisions, they don't have an account anymore anywhere. Their accounts, their funds are frozen because they have taken an illegal action against humanity, and she basically cuts them out of every system. So every time people make these decisions, there are consequences, right? Which I would call very natural, right? If you naturally, these are choices that everyone gets to make, right?
Right.
If you eat too many French fries, chances are you're going to have too much weight, right? These are natural consequences. They're built into everything we do. So those consequences are certainly in place. And I think there's a lot of signs of things that I suspect are going on that, Kim has not confirmed, but, the banks have been glitching all over the place. One of our members today was in a bank, and while he was in not in a bank, he actually went to access his account online. He couldn't, kept trying it. He called the bank. They tried to reset the password, and then they said, we can't reset it. And they told him, you have to come to the bank and do it and do it here, right? Now that's odd, right? I've never had to go to a bank to reset a password. So what's interesting about that is that's the very same problem that we just had, right? Because they wouldn't let us put in our information, put in our codes to bring down funds. They wouldn't let us do it personally, right? But what just happened was they forced him to come down to put in his codes by himself with his own hand, which implies to me that they must have read something on the screen that said this individual has to come down and put their own information in, right? So that would be a great sign, because that would mean they would be forced, that they couldn't even see our money, that they'd be forced to bring us down to do it ourselves. And if that is then put in the system, that, which is what it sounds like, that seems like pretty good news to me. Like I said, I got several more reports today of people not being able to cash, U.S. Treasury checks, which again is a witness to the fact that the Department of the Treasury is $7.68 billion in debt, and they are completely shut off, because the only way the U.S. government has stayed afloat is because Kim has taken care of the Treasury for the past, year plus. And despite that, they chose Mnuchin. So I thought that was a pretty good, a practical indicator of some of the things going on. Wells Fargo is still down for different reasons today. Now, I don't know if that's across the board, but I know, that was here. Now, the other thing that I'm really paying attention to is service outages everywhere. There's service outages everywhere. I got reports from this from all over the country of people, like, all of a sudden their whole service just goes down, their entire phone service. Now, that could be them, the bad guys just trying to interfere with our ability to, connect to the natural high frequency that is out there, across the board, and they're just trying to disrupt it and do whatever they can. But it could also be just that there's updates taking place in the system as the quantum system is fully integrating, and that there's no longer a disconnect. So because there's no longer a disconnect, those changes will take a few days to synchronize. That could be. It could be. But it's definitely indicative of something going on. Now, what's taking place is that there's all these things happening with the banks and the Treasury, and the lies just keep on coming with the GCR, right? So people are still talking about the GCR is about to go down. The big report today was that President Trump and Steve Mnuchin, they came to a deal, right? And they agreed on terms, and they're going to let the GCR RV. It's going to happen at the same time. And so this is a classic. At first, it's going to be a soft rollout. It's already begun. Now, soft rollout, what that basically means is that it's going to...
Oh. Hello. Tank, I can't hear you. Hello, Tank. This is Space Command to Galactic Unicorn. Come in, Galactic Unicorn. He may be talking and not know that we can't hear him. I'm going to bump him because that's happened before. Eject. No. Well, this information is kind of, what we expect, that they don't want this information out. So it's a unique, right, situation. Where there's no doubt that there's been interference happening on things that happened with Tank. He's been dealing with many of these issues. Places had no problems broadcasting for it, but we can't broadcast. So I assume he'll be back on in a moment. Actually, there's a possibility if there's I can bring him on via Telegram. I'll just call him just to make sure he knows he's bumped off. Did you know you were muted or no volume coming through?
It put me off the call, and I just tried to call. I was typing you. I tried to call 5 times. It's not like that got.
All right, so you can go ahead and talk. And I have you on speakerphone through Telegram.
Oh, great. Okay. So basically, what happened is, I don't know. What's the last thing you guys heard? What's the last thing I said? Talking about the RV, it's fine.
Yeah, well, here's the RV. They're going to come there. That's going to come through, and they made a deal.
Right. Okay. So the deal they made allegedly, right, was that they were going to do a soft rollout. So the soft rollout is complete bollocks, right? There's absolutely no truth. There's no soft rollout. The soft rollout, what that basically means is they've run out of ideas and they need to take a breather, right? So what happens is they say they're doing a soft rollout, and then everybody's waiting, right? And then what happens is slowly people stop communicating because they're told to be quiet, told to stop going on calls. But they don't get called in, but they think they're the first people that are going to get called. And they're waiting for the soft rollout. And so the soft rollout basically means the next 2 or 3 weeks they're going to be claiming the soft rollout, going, oh, so-and-so's getting called, this is happening. But no one will get called. No one's going in. And even if you go in, it's a lie. They're just going to put your money in an SKR, you'll never get anything. They'll take your currency, and then whoever set that up for you as a private exchange, you'll never hear from them again, right? And everyone's going to be up in a tizzy, right? Because they're going to be, well, I want to get the best deal, and and then somebody else is going to come out, TNT's going to say, just wait for the 800 number. They're going to say something like that, right? And it's never going to happen. The RV will not ever happen. Now, the next thing they're claiming, is that Neil Keenan is using his code to block funds, right? And that's why we haven't got money, right? So now they've created, an innocuous villain, right? The Dread Pirate Neil Keenan, right? Which I don't think Neil Keenan is an evil individual per se. Ben Fulford apparently does. The individual shared this, trying to portray him that way. And if that was the case, my God, we are doing fine. If the worst thing we have to deal with was Neil Keenan, I'm sorry, I just don't see him as being a force to be reckoned with in any way. Okay, so and not to say anything negative about him either. I just don't. That's not a concern at all. So that being said, with this, they're saying that Neil Keenan was blocking funds, right, for the RV, because in their version, right, in this fourth dimensional apocalypse version of what happens next, right? The RV is the big thing. Now, so they're saying he blocked it. Well, that's not true. We know that. So that's just, creating a character for no reason whatsoever. It doesn't serve anything. That's just not true. And then the only thing, now the next part is the only thing left to do, because of the deal made with Stephen and Donald Trump, is for Donald Trump to enter in the Liberty Code. And then it's off to the races and the exchange begins, right? The soft rollout. Okay, there might be a Liberty Code that Kim set up for project funding. That's possible. That could be where that. She never mentioned that to me, but she makes the codes in real time. So I can definitely say beyond a shadow of a doubt that Neil Keenan has a black code book that is very outdated, that has not been used since the 70s. It's not super, right? And Kim has the exact same code book, by the way. She has the exact same codes in her version. She has all the same books. Every book that every one of these people who claim to be the M1 have, because they all have like a code book. That's why they think they're the one that has the access. There's a blue book and a red book. The president has a book. All of those code books, Kim has all of them. Every one of them. Now, they might have a code book. No, none of them have all of them, but Kim does. And I have pictures. That's a fact, by the way. And all of those codes are completely useless. They've all been disabled. So none of those codes will work. None of them can access the trust. Not one of them. So that's the current state of the union. This has been proven out time and time again. Right? So you have these different things taking place. Now Steve Mnuchin, he as you know, part of his plea bargain was to block them from allowing Trump's taxes to be released, right? And now the current state of the union. So what does the mainstream media do? Instead of coming up with news, they started preaching about polls, right? Like in 1985 to 1994, President Trump claimed $2 million in losses. Like, who cares? That's great. I mean, look at all his business. I mean, it has that kind of money to write off. It's incredible, right?
Yeah.
And they try to make it as a way to make him look bad. All they did was make everyone go, man, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's a great thing.
we're going to impeach him for being a good businessman.
We're going to impeach him because in 1994, he was mean to a lady on the street when he should have helped her across the road. We got it on tape. Like, are you kidding? And what's amazing is, like, this guy Adam, this guy Schiff, right? And I tweeted to him today, and I was like, hey, man, don't get all up on a Schiff about it, because because Schiff has become like, you are the criminal, and all you do is cast it on somebody else, right? And you get a little tizzy about it. That's what Schiff is doing, right? And all these guys, what they're doing is, what you see all the time in these various protests, they are overacting, right? They're going over the top. You know, you had this drunken hillbilly Alabama congressman got up there, and, well, we're going to do abortion. You got abortion. I mean, I'm like, how did you ever get elected? You can't even speak. Talking about, you should abort now or kill them later. What? I mean, it's just insanity. And I'm thinking to myself, that is your party, guys. That's what you're standing by. That's your down there, right? And I'm just cracking up by all the rhetoric that they keep, because everything they keep bringing out makes them look worse and worse and worse. And I have got to believe there's intelligent liberals who are going, what are we doing? Right? And I'm not talking about like the angry feminist, super powered, lesbian who hates everybody, right? Who's like yelling in men's faces, trying to goad them into punching them, which is everywhere, by the way. That is not me, that is happening everywhere. Like that exact description of what I just said.
Well,
right?
I just want to add, because what that is they're put in programming terms, literally from software programming. When you have events get triggered, right? So now the new word out there is, I'm going to be triggered. If I see this, then I'm going to be triggered, right? They're trying to get people to be triggered, to act in a programmed fashion because they see a MAGA hat, right? Or if you act in a certain way, like if you act as a man, the women will be triggered against you. I've seen that. There's some signs that I saw put up in a storefront, right? So we have from Infowars, they were banned, right? So now they've all retreated, not retreated, went forward onto Telegram. They're now so Infowars is now pushing Telegram groups as a way to bypass all the filters, because it's open. So the guy from Infowars, Watson, right? With Paul Joseph Watson, that guy. So he's been putting up some of these his stuff that he put on Twitter is now coming up here, and then you have a comment section where you can actually make comments on it. So it's very, very interesting, the stuff he's putting up there. But there was a sign that was put up on this storefront, right? And it says, if you're a man, read these things, right? And so you have to agree to these things before you enter the store. And you can tell it's all about hatred of men, right? It's like, please do not talk to my breasts. You won't be meeting them, right? That's like the first thing. If you want to control someone, sleep with your remote, right? Number 3, I always choose chocolate over men, always. Right, and that's and my sexual preference is no.
Yes, no. Oh, that's great. That's great. That's why you look like a man. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
It's it's very interesting. Alexandria Cortez, right? She tweeted this out today, right? She said, for those asking if this is a parody account, you can just step right off. If I was a white male, nobody would be asking. It's racist. Full stop. Knock it off. Now, You know what's racist? When someone asks if your account is a parody account because you're saying stupid things, and you make it about white men, that's racist.
Right. Right. Exactly.
That's racist.
Right.
Let's actually call it racist. Something's racist what it actually is, right? Where you are making assumptions about who people are based on superficial attributes or things they cannot change, right? Like I can't change, right? And, you know, there was this teacher, a fifth grade teacher, back when you could do anything in school, I guess. I want to say it was like in the 60s, and she videotaped it, and she told all her students that children with blue eyes were smarter, they were better in every way, they're more intelligent, and all these things, right? And then the brown-eyed students. Now, she told them that in the morning, and she watched to see what would happen. Now this is a horrible thing to do, right? I mean, it's not ethical anyway. This is what she did. And during recess, right, these kids went out, and the brown-eyed kids were crying. They were devastated. Blue-eyed kids were bullying them and pushing them around and, you know, making fun of them. It was complete division. And then when they came back in, she said, now, everything I just told you was not true. I did that to teach you about racism. They interviewed these kids 20 years later, and they said they were still wrecked about it. They said it affected them their whole life. They still think about that. Some of them were wearing contacts, colored contacts.
Oh, they were definitely screwed up then. I gotta wear my contacts now so that everyone thinks I'm smart.
Right. So all of these, you know, like love and peace, people like oh my gosh, the worst one. This woman who is a professor at I can't remember if it's UCLA or where it was, but someplace in California. She was like out of a movie. She was a parody all by herself. I mean, she was like morbidly obese. And I'll tell you something about that, because I won't apologize for pointing out when someone's morbidly obese, because when you are morbidly obese, there is absolutely no difference between being morbidly obese or being a raging alcoholic or a heroin addict. It is a choice. Now, it might be an addiction, but you got there by making choices, right?
Right.
And even if you can't get out of it, you're there. Now, this woman is morbidly obese, like avalanche big, right? And she literally got another teacher, another professor at this college, pushed out, like had his classes cut down, all these, like attacked him, right? And she's one of these professors who attacks students, you know, the male students for doing one thing or another. You know, a student doesn't raise their hand, you know, or doesn't have the right answer, or takes notes using a computer, and she attacks them, you know, accuses them of sexual harassment because he didn't respect my authority, things like that, right? And this woman, and she was just, everything about her was venom, and around her was like something out of a Disney movie. Like, if you can imagine, like, you know, not the supervillain herself, but like, you know, the character she hangs out with. It's always like these goofy looking stooges who are like dressed like idiots, you know, and they couldn't think for themselves. They worship her. This is exactly what it was. And it was a train wreck. It was awful what she was saying. Everything about it is hatred. Their doctrine is hate, right?
Yeah.
They teach a doctrine of hate. And I'll tell you what, if you want to go be part of that, you can. You can go be part of that. You can go be part of it. It doesn't. I don't even care about Satan. It's a church of hatred, right? It's a commitment to evil. And you know what's happening? Those numbers are getting smaller and smaller. So the manifestation is getting worse and worse and worse because they have to compensate for the numbers. So part of this is you have to take away, you know, that, and we have to realize that doesn't have any power, right? The only reason why it has power is because we are giving our attention to it, and it frustrates us. Like, how is this out there? Now, the reason why it has power is because they still control one aspect of mainstream media, which is the hate machine, right? It is perpetuating this narrative, and it's constantly bombarding everyone. So everyone thinks this is what most people think. This is how most people act. But in reality, it's not nearly the numbers they'd say. I'd say probably a third of what they actually are talking about. When they and the Democrats, no Democrat should. I'm not a Democrat. I hate that. I avoid saying the word Democrat all the time because there's deep state on both sides.
Sure.
But let's just say Pelosi and Schumer and anyone in that camp, none of them should ever use the word the people want in anything they say, because they could care less what the people want. They're not listening to the people. They don't know what's going on with people. And whenever they say, this is what the people want, or this is what the people need, nonsense. Now, now on top of that, they think they have a win right now because the House Judiciary Committee just held Barr in contempt. Now, how can you possibly hold them in contempt? They're not even a legal body.
Right.
They're not a real court. They're just a committee. They're not a real court.
Right. They're
the Attorney General.
Right. So they have no say in the judicial side. They're just saying, well, you just dissed us, is what they're saying.
Yeah. So
That's
the
it.
way they're going to settle it, it's going to be a dance battle. And I heard Barr is amazing, so my money's on him.
Yeah, I hear he likes jazz in Paris.
Nobody likes Jazz in Paris.
No, Barr does. I like it.
I hear he does breakdance fighting, and it's going to be incredible.
Okay. Well, I used to break dance way back in the day. I don't even
question it. Of course you did.
And we had our own troupe, right? We'd actually go into the black dance clubs, and we'd be like, there was 3 of us were white and 2 were black. So and we'd
dude, by the way, that's really cool. Really cool.
Yeah. Well,
the only thing I can think of that'd be cool in that is if we had your own groups, like the roller rink. That would be sick. Like I always think that was cool.
well, just so you know, we did also go. No, we went, obviously. We would go roller skating, but there was no let's say performance other than us falling down occasionally, right?
Yeah, I get it.
You know.
Still break dance now?
I still yoga.
Oh man.
I still, to this day, I can do a headstand and get into the crow position, and so that's amazing in itself. So I actually did. I don't. It's not a daily practice, but it took me a good 10 minutes to get in. Some stretching to get into where I could still do that pose. And I said, "Oh, I'm that's good." I'm surprised. I'm probably like 30 pounds overweight, and I was still able to pull it off, like Barr in his breakdancing.
Which is, it's going to be a showdown. And I'm going to really start promoting the heck out of that state project.
It's good.
Handle the contempt with breakdance fighting. We can all get along if we would just agree to dance it out. So much better. What a great world this would be.
Yeah.
But I mean, but so Adam Schiff, Schiff. I don't even understand how he still has a job. It's like
I got it. And he's not. I don't think he will for too much longer. It's literally just the beginnings of this push, and I know it takes it's taking time, but it is happening, right? But it's about bringing the sleeping masses along for the ride, and they have to wake up enough till they get to the next stage, because this is going to end up where you have 100,000 people being put through the legal system and military tribunals. So this is it's a process to get people to that point. The offense just started this last week. That's why, and I'm writing this article. You know, the first blog post I'm doing is about, you know, where we go when we go all .love, but it's about the offense starting right now this month, and part of that is as this website for coordination. You know, yeah, this is going to take time, and I don't know if it's 3 more months before we see, you know, the major arrests, or if it's 6 months. You know, but it is going to be, you know, addressing a lot of issues. But I think that they may end up pushing it faster than I think it's going to happen much faster than longer. 2 months from now, 3 months from now, I think that's when we're going to see a lot of this stuff really coming down. And those people will get out of the market. I mean, out of the system. Oh, you know, I just saw that Tui has just joined on the Hangouts. And I want to also ask everyone in the chat room, can you please tell me if you can hear Tank very well? Because I am holding him up on speakerphone on my phone. Can you hear him okay? People in the chat, just say yes, no. It's better than before, worse than before. And if Tui's ready to jump on, he can also join in and say hello. And everyone's saying yes. Say yes, I can hear him well. Not great. So be more clear. Yes, I can hear him. Is it better or worse than before? It's actually, you know, for me, you sound much better on the speakerphone than coming through Google Hangouts. Same as always. They hear you. They hear you same as always. So, and someone says hear you better. Right. It says now another says it's better.
All right, good.
If this is the case, I'm gonna have to come up with a way of holding up the phone here, like just here, so I don't have to do it for 3 hours, hanging that phone in the middle of the air, right?
Right.
I have to come up with a system here to hold it. So yeah. So anyway, they can hear you. That's fine. So Tui, you want to join in? He's still muted, so I guess we can continue till he's ready to jump on.
Yeah, so there's just, it's such a fascinating, you know, I'm really fascinated by the antics that are taking place right now, right? So I didn't get a chance to research it yet to see what it means to be held in contempt for, I mean, because you know what, I'll give you another movement. I stand with Barr. I'm holding them in contempt, all of them, because they're awful. I hold them in contempt of the American people.
Well, they're contemptible.
They're wasting time. They're awful because they're trying to make, you know, this man who had literally took apart every piece of their argument by using the law. Now, imagine a pack of useless. I can't stand.
Well, by him just saying, I'm not going to come there to be grilled by attorneys, right? Right? You want to ask me questions. I've already complied with everything that I'm legally obligated to, and actually more than I was needed to. All I needed to do was send a report. I didn't need to even give I don't even think he has to give a summary. I think he just has to deliver the report by law.
Right, and he came voluntarily, and they have no right to submit. They don't have the right to force him to come down. He comes down willingly. Now, what he's doing though, he's defying the order. That's why they're mad, because they hold these positions, right?
Right.
So maybe Nancy Pelosi isn't the Black Dragon, but she's still something, right? So he's defying the families, right? The Dragon family. He's saying, I am not subject to you. I am part of the Republic. Now that is what we need. Now what we need though also is this. I've been talking to these three little butts all day. At some point we have to just call out the nonsense that is going on and enlighten people as to why these characters think they can do this. And the reason why is they're not using Constitution, oh my goodness! Listen, there is Hillary Clinton and her this pulled together this group to stand against. I forget what it's called. It's Community of States or COS, some collection of states or something like that. This group, right? And she came together with George Soros to stand against them, right? And what I watched this video of her today, and I'm gonna tear this thing apart. The thing she says, she talks about change, right? And she says how, she says now I'm very concerned about the conservative view of change. From my perspective, is that of course you are, because change in your perspective is when we all get killed off, right? And you become normal or dead, right? You don't have a position, a platform to speak anymore. Of course you're scared. Of course that scares you. And then she goes, it's radical ideas of change. And then the thing she said, she was, enabling business owners to do this, enabling people. She's talking about giving us rights, and she's, up in arms about it. You can imagine it's so radical to her that people would have power. That's the problem. That's the problem.
Right.
Is they think that's a radical idea that regular people would have opportunity to this whole gang of the families that are in the government, right? The bloodlines that are in there that are still loyal to this order of, the evil empire. They think it's radical that regular human beings, because they still operate according to a royal imperial system. And that's the truth. And that's what we have to acknowledge. Those contracts are done. Those changes is how we started the country, and we are finally free of that order. And this is where we have to stand up and start calling it what it is. And don't get me wrong, there's clearly something here, there's lots of pieces I'm just trying to do anything about. So my future self might be looking at me going like, you're just foolish because you didn't realize X, Y, and Z was happening. But as far as I can tell right here in the cheap seats, you know what? The way they are conducting themselves is as if the order is still, like we're still under contract with the order, and we're not. And that's the key. We are not in contract with them. We have rejected any of those contracts. We will not be your slave. We will not be like this anymore. We will not suppress intelligence and beauty and excellence and amazing attributes. Not dull ourselves down and not be exceptional so that you can stay in power. I'm sorry, it's not happening. I cannot stand my big pet peeve in my life right now. The fact that we have had to subject ourselves to this mediocrity and continue to have to do it when it fixes even harder. It's not even hard.
Yeah, well, it is about not contracting with them again, right? Because that is what the whole thing is. Even what was happening with the Kingdom of Manna, right? It was another form of contract. Right? Indeed, Tui says. So hey, Tui. Oh, he just came on just to say indeed.
Yeah. Sorry, don't want to spoil the flow. Sounds good. The awakening process sounds good. I just want to say hi to everyone. Bula Manaka, to everyone on the live chat on the show tonight. Thank you so much, Thank you, Dan. Yes, I don't wanna stop the flow. And please, do continue on the discussion of what's happening there.
Well, I want to point out this too. So you see they still have power, but it's getting less and less prominent nationwide. But in places like Kevin Spacey, right, where he's up on charges for sexual assault, right? Now he obviously cut a deal with the order, but not with the real republic. He cut a deal with the order because this is how they deal with things, right? Now he cut a deal with the order to be the scapegoat, right? That he would come out, right? That he would come out, take a hit for everybody, to distract everyone with his crimes, which are awful. But by comparison to human sacrifice, killing of babies, and harshing fetuses, this takes away from, it distracts from that, right? And so what happens? The star witness for the case gets killed in a car wreck. The other guy who's the owner of the bar where he committed one of these crimes, or was part of it, was going to witness, he died too. So the two main witnesses for that case suddenly are dead, and it's Kevin Spacey's off scot-free. Because that's how they do business.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they do business over and over again. So we're watching that, right? And there has to be some stance that takes place, right? As we are really, really figuring it out, right? Because what they're doing is they're moving an army in place to completely do away with any type of cultural identity, any kind of nation mobilizing. There was Hannity was just talking about this. There was 100,000 illegal immigrants that crossed the border in April alone. Just think about that.
Yeah.
And you don't know who or what they were. You don't know who they were. You tell me 100,000 people came over. They're all taking these low-income jobs to keep the farming industry going. Whatever the heroic action they're trying to portray. They're gonna give them scholarships to go to college and give them the right to vote so they can vote in more useless candidates, because that's the deal. Like they have to register as a Democrat. So they're not a citizen, but they have to register as soon as they come in, to vote a certain way. I mean, this is a dangerous practice. It's not racism.
Well,
right? It's realism.
Yeah, it's realism, but it's dangerous. Meant to be dangerous. It's meant to destroy the country. They want to break it up into the 5 regions they've already have predefined, and they already knew who was going to lead those. Right? They already had their deals cut. Right, and this would be kingdoms or whatever you want to say that they were, but they were going to be overseen, and no one they were going to take away the weapons, because that's what Obama had basically done just before he left office. Obama was busy before he left, right? He had to make sure their plans could proceed, even though. So they've all been continuing down the road, and their master plan makers are gone, right? They checked out. Bush Senior, he's gone. Right? The others are not looking too well, and this supply of adrenochrome has been curtailed. But I think that they're still able to get it somehow. But these things are rolling by, and we're stopping them, right? But it's a slow process. We have made a significant progress.
But you're leading up the swell of awakening right now. Of what is happening is unprecedented. What they're doing is they're showing this dark, ignorant side, and it gets to a point where you're, being ignorant of something. Like if you just didn't know something, that's one thing. But when you're ignoring it, and you're ignorant because you're ignoring something, that's what's happening right now.
We'll see. CNN just lost 100 of their people. You could say that they were fired, but it was all voluntary. They ended their contracts voluntarily with a settlement, right? So here, take this and go. 100 of their people are gone. Right? Why? Yeah. Right? Because they lost half of their audience when the Mueller report came out. Right? How are they going to be able to survive? Right? Why is it that the Queen's Privy Council and the former assistant to the Prime Minister of England has to come and take over Facebook? Right? It's because it just shows of the Five Eyes that England was heavily and part of that keeping tabs on their colony of America. Right, so did we actually have independence? Do we ever, so is the war ever actually over? We as the good guys, we think, okay, we won, let's continue on. No, the bad guys just keep on coming.
Look, I'm gonna give you another one too, because these things are so prominent, right, of how they are showing themselves. Now, Cory Booker, right? Cory Booker comes out and And he says that if they don't turn over their guns, they should be arrested. Now, I want you to think about this because you were somebody else was talking to me about this, about how they can't communicate through regular channels anymore, so they're doing it through the media, right? So when you're doing this, right? So Hillary Clinton comes out, right? She's calling for the Chinese to hack, calling for the Chinese to hack the IRS. They have direct access to the IRS. It's owned by the Rothschilds, right? It's not even a big deal. It's a matter of them actually releasing that information or not, But Cory Booker comes out and says that they should be arrested if they don't turn over their guns. Now think about this. We've already established that the police force does not have an oath of office, so they are not government controlled. I'm sure that's not the case with all of them, but in many cases that is the situation. That's why if you get pulled over for any reason, make sure you tell them you do not agree with them pulling you over, and that you would like to see their oath of office immediately. Make sure you get their oath of office. Do not comply, because if they don't have an oath of office, they are just a random mercenary force pulling you over with a gun, with a loaded weapon. Okay, and and make sure you tell them you are in fear for your life. And I'm just saying, I'm not trying to put fear in anyone. I'm giving you a tool to use for you because you should be aware of that. Now, so here's what he's saying this. Now, think about what he's saying. He is calling to violate the Constitution, right? He is trying to take away the constitutional right that we have to bear arms. And he's calling out a private mercenary force to take action against the people. Now, that is a terrorist act. I know that seems extreme, but we are in extreme times, and that's the reality of what's happening. Now, if we called it just what it is, and it got played out on media over and over again, and you heard that and realized that's true, because you have a constitutional right. That is what's going on. Hillary Clinton talking about they want to rewrite the Constitution. No, you already rewrote the Constitution. We want the Constitution to be returned because we no longer have a contract with you. The Republic was based on the Constitution. So they want to write things about God. The original Constitution talks about God. You have in God we trust. It's according to natural and universal law. So what they're claiming to be, it's the opposite. But because people are so ignorant and indoctrinated, they don't realize what they're saying isn't true. So they're trying to promote their constitution. They're trying to promote their version of things. And they're trying to promote that as if it's real and if it's true, but it's not. And that's where we have to take a stand. Because everyone will do things according to what they've always done. And if we don't make the effort, like you were saying at the beginning of the call, to build everything from the ground up and really come back to the basics of what everything was established on. Everything. Do no harm. Do no harm. And there is unalienable rights that we have. And they are in violation of those rights. Now those unalienable, and it's unalienable, not inalienable. Unalienable rights, meaning they are given to you by God and no one can take them from you. Those are what they are trying to take from us because they are trying to replace God with law and order and technology, right? And control. And they are trying to get us to worship them and be subservient to them. And the fact that we are not is driving them crazy. And the only thing they know how to do is Willie Lynch how to make a slave on the banks of the Mississippi. Make it so the only people they can trust is you. And divide them all the time. Lie to them. Divide them by their hair color, their eye color, their size, their shape, their height, their skin color. By them constantly, pit them against each other, and they will keep themselves enslaved. And that's what they're trying to do. So there has never been a time where you could actually break free from being a slave the way you can now. Do not allow yourself to continue to be enslaved by thinking that we are so different we can't come to terms. You are not a slave to anyone. But that's a decision you have to make for yourself every single day. Every single day. Choices you make have got to be yours. And we've got to consider, because I'm telling you, we're coming to a point where you are going to be faced with a hard decision. Everybody, there's a hard decision that's coming. And when those choices come, just keep in mind what kind of decision are you making. Because you might find yourself in a situation that probably will, where you are deciding whether you will be liberated and sovereign, or you will continue to go along with their system and be a slave. Because that's where we're at. That's where we're at.
Yes, well, we have to make that decision. I did already. I will not be a slave. I do not want to comply with what they want. I want to create a whole new world. I want to change the system that they're been working from, and do everything in a much the opposite direction as they've been doing it. And I'm sure it will work much better. 100%.
I am absolutely certain. Almost anything would. These the hardest obstacle to overcome right now is our own mentality and our lack of our lack of willingness to do a personal, detailed investigation of the essential things. Because when we do that, and we let go of all the things that we think define us, what we can do is we can define who we are, and who we are, not by our history, not by our future, who we are right now in this present moment, and own that power. Allow yourself to be one and really empowered. In essence, you are already. In that is where all your power is. Realizing that you are connected to all things, that you are a creator, that you are creating the reality that you exist in. In this reality, we are liberated, we are free. We are not contractually obligated to anyone for anything. The only contract you are bound to is to source, and that is for your life. And that's what we spend our time trying to understand, is what is my soul purpose, like Tui is always talking about. What is our soul contract? What are we here to do? And when we tap into that, we can remember who we are. And when you remember who you are, you'll be furious that you're still here in this situation. You will find yourself bad. Now, I'm not trying to, I don't feel the need to pretend and say certain things so that they're politically correct, right? Like, oh, that's too negative. No, it's not. If you listen to what I'm saying, I'm coming from a place of power. I'm not afraid of what I'm saying. I'm not afraid. They can't stop what we're doing. Now, if you felt the same way I do, believe me, we would not be slaves right now. And all of those people in the government right now, and the banks, who continue to make these decisions, you are making your decision to be a slave. That is your decision. You are enslaving yourself over and over and over again. When you have the opportunity to liberate not only yourself, but be a hero to everybody and liberate humanity. And that's fine. Go ahead and make your decision. I'm not even going to try to persuade you to do something different. Go ahead and be that. If that's what you want to be, that's your choice, and I respect it. I love you. I appreciate what you're doing. Thank you for making me better. Thank you for making it so easy to stand out. Your mediocrity.
Thank you so much for all of your efforts to go down the wrong path. Well, I think we got a good momentum, and so I hope we have our things happening in Fiji. Looks like we're going to have things happening in Liberia. Things are starting to change. With regard to how people perceive themselves. It's like I was saying, our value is infinite, right? It's not about how much gold you have, right? But how much you can act as a sovereign, as you can stand up and do things. When you take action, it has so much power. So that's important to come together, and that's what we're doing. We're getting the message out. By the way, we have only 41 likes and 200 people watching, 202 people watching. Where's all the likes? Come on. Take some action. You know, share the video. I know you've done it before. Share it again. All right. But yeah, we need to take action, right? And that's the main point is use your voice. Get your voice out there. Do a video. How many in our 202 watching are going to do their own video? Can I see a show of yeses? Yes, 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 yes. See if they're going to do a video.
Let me throw this out there too, because this just came up on my feed. Is that Nadler? But I don't even know. I guess he's the House Judiciary Committee.
Yeah.
By holding Barr in contempt, the Department of Justice has now fired back, and they've made a blatant statement that Attorney General Barr will not break the law to appease the Congressional Judiciary Committee, which is the equivalent of any other committee. It has absolutely no power to dictate how the laws are enforced. It does not have that power. So the Department of Justice has fired back saying Attorney General Barr will not break the law, and you have no right to hold him in contempt because he didn't even have to give you the Mueller report at all. How about that?
There you go. Yeah, you can't force him to break the law. And that was the other thing. It's like it's 99% unredacted. The last portion that's redacted is going to basically, end up convicting a bunch of Democrats. And that's what they want to see. Well, what's in there? That's the only thing they're concerned with. Is their name in there? Is their name in there? That's what this is all about. They want to find out if they have to run for the hills.
So I'm going to read you what the Attorney General could not comply with the House Judiciary Committee's subpoena without violating the law, court rules, and court orders, and without threatening the independence of the department's prosecutorial functions. So how about that? So exactly what I said. I'm so glad I'm just proving right. It must be a time of instantaneous manifestation. Is that how you know that was out there?
There you go. That's it. We keep manifesting. Let's just keep it going. GCR is already, in shambles. Oh, I tried to find that Benjamin Fulford, is a video about him on YouTube, and all have been removed except for one robotic voice. And I've tried to listen to it, and it's so hard to listen to. Before there was a robotic voice, it was, you could follow along. This one is so difficult to listen to. I can't hear his report. So I actually started reading his website, but it's not the same thing as what comes out there. So if you have a link to the one that you where you heard him basically were saying that the GCR, anything related to the GCR being finished, completed, put on hold, whatever it is you said.
It's not an audio, but I have the written report, sure.
Oh, it's in written? Okay, just highlight that and send it to me. So I wanted to highlight that and put it out there. And I also, there's some comments there where people are again upset about, the statement, right? That, the GCR is over, they don't like what's being said. So that's, again, the stages of grief, the death of this reality of a GCR that was, never meant to do what you thought it was. Right?
Okay, I'm going to tell you right now, anybody out there who's lamenting that the GCR is over, right? Because I appreciate what you're going through. I went through it myself. Everybody knows I was very much a big advocate for GCR. I had all types of connections, and I reported on it every day. And I had chat rooms, groups, and I had made all types of plans, and I understand why that would be discouraging. I want you to understand the global currency reset is not what you thought it was. It was a global reset, and the idea was to reset the population, decreasing it by 90%, and using that as an activation to collapse the world's economy. in collapsing the world's economy, the way it would happen is it would reduce all of the currency's value, actual spending power, down to almost nothing. The US dollar would collapse, and 136 countries would immediately collapse overnight. Food would stop being on the shelves, trade would stop immediately. Everything in the world. And then there's another 50 countries who still use the dollar just as much as their country, but they're not pegged to it. They would have collapsed almost immediately. Everything would have fallen apart in the world. And what they would have done is they would have then come in with the answer and the solution for, our bad decision making and our greed, right? And they would have blamed us for it. They would have said, because of your greed, because you had to do this, right? They try to shame all of this, right? Now, at that point, we'd all be starving. And they'd be acting like there's no way to make more food, no one will work, right? Because they made it seem like we're dependent on money, but we weren't. We never, right? You still could grow food, it wouldn't be a problem. But they'll make us feel that way. And then what they'll do is they'll introduce cryptocurrencies. And when we sign up to utilize cryptocurrencies, there'll be certain decisions we have to make. Now, if you are a Christian and you were raised in any church in the United States, you were raised, in the past 60 years, you were raised hearing about the rapture. Now, the rapture is not in the Bible. Okay? There is a perversion that was taught, and it was disseminated all through Christianity, Christian religion, and it talked about how there was going to be 7 years of judgment, and in the first, what was going to happen was all the true believers would be raptured up, then there'd be 7 years of tribulation, and in these 7 years of tribulation, for the first 3.5 years, you have a righteous force would rise up, right, and that would be your only chance to be saved. And what would happen is they were going to put the mark. You have to get the mark of the beast on the back of your hand or your forehead, right? And that was going to be your way to pay for things. Now, you can appreciate that happening right now because they have put that in the doctrine. It's not really there. And then now, what they're doing is because they put it there, they were telling us what was going to happen.
Right.
And we all signed up to believe in the rapture, right? So we all terrified of this when we were kids, right? Forced down our throats. Threatened, and this horrible, vengeful God was created, right? This horrible state of the world being turned into this, devil's playground. And so what they're doing now is they're playing out the doctrine that they created, and they're trying to pass it off as what you think it means to be a Christian. They're trying to say this is what's happening. Don't believe the demons. All galactics are demons. Right, and so now what you do is they have a chip, and the chip you can put in your hand or in your head, and the chip would be like your credit card, and they make everything crypto, and you'd have to pay for things with your chip, right? You wouldn't have credit cards anymore, you won't have cash, you'll just have your chip, and then they'll control every part of you, because you'll have universal income. They'll introduce universal income to save the day, right? And we'll all be paid universal income, food credits, like Dan always says, right? You get your food credit for the day, and you'll get just enough to survive because in their matrix, just barely survives. And most of us, is the dominant, Christian believers, would go along with it because we think this is God's punishment because I didn't truly believe. I thought I did, but I didn't really, right? So we think we failed God, and we just subject ourselves to a brand new type of slavery. And in this, you would have genocide on a level you can't even imagine. Because they were terrified as kids watching this movie, The Rapture, where they bring people in the end, and they were questioned, like, are you going to get the mark or not? And the test was, if you said no, you die, or you go to heaven, right? And what they would do is they would lay you on the guillotine, face up, right? So this reality, right, is what they were creating, and these are being, played out as in the state of the world. They now have permission because we all signed off on it to implement all of the disease and all of the horrible things that, the changes in the weather and, all the birds dying, the frogs dying, and everything. Insanity on the planet, right? This is the global reset. The rapture is the global reset. And that's what they were planning to set off, and the currency and the collapse of the economy was the first stage. It was not the savior. It was not the salvation of mankind, it was the opposite. It was the trigger to kill us all. Now, I am not speaking from a place of intel or speculation or my belief is this is absolute fact. These are documents, these are agreements, these are worldwide agreements. I have seen them. This is real. Every country in the world signed off on this. And look, in 2016 or 17, the Rothschilds got up because when Kim came on the scene, that changed everything because she cut them off. And they got up and they threatened everyone. And they said, we will wipe out every man, woman, and child on this planet if you accept a dime from the man or woman you trust. And they threatened all of them. So that's why there's now this up there. And they took the.
So many countries have. But many countries have already taken a dime. Already, right? And we're still here.
Right. And that's the point. They are, and then all they do is lie. So everybody in those government positions, no, you got to listen. Go get this to your boss and their boss. Find out who's the one who's the gatekeeper. The gatekeeper is the one who blocks everything. When you think you left it to somebody, don't do that. Get it to the right people. Get it to the person making decisions. If you are one of the people, and you have to pass it through a chain of command, bypass the chain of command because your government and your world is under attack. And they are trying to commit genocide on a massive scale. Do not just say to yourself, I've done my job, I've done my part. No, you haven't. Your job is to get the job done. So get the job done. That's your focus. Don't just pass it off and walk away and wash your hands. You're in a state where, I tell people this all the time, like it's not, like anybody who's ever worked for me, I've always said, look, I don't expect you to do all the work. I just expect you to get the job done. Now, you don't have to work, you can hire 20 people. That's fine, just get the job done. That is what, so anybody that's ever come to me and said, look, I did my part, man, I don't know why they didn't do it. No, that doesn't fly. You have to get the job done right now. And right now, we are in the business of liberating humanity, restoring the vital force that's in all of us, reminding everyone who they are, getting people back on their feet, getting the government running, the real governments in operation again, bringing integrity back to our legal structures. Yeah. Getting it so there's laws that are actually enforced. Because right now, it is a joke. What just happened with the Department of Justice is awesome. They came back and said, look, we will not break the law to appease your witch hunt. We will not break the law. You have no power over us. Oh my goodness. I'm telling you, that is a powerful message for all of us. That's powerful. And we have to say the same thing. Enough. Enough of this whole laid out lie.
Yeah. Well, Tank, those that are sitting there and we need them to actually get the job done, right? They're used to just taking orders. They're used to following the procedures. They're used to just passing, rubber stamping whatever they need to rubber stamp or rejecting the things they need to reject. So we're asking them to actually do critical thinking. How do I get this job done? What steps do they have to take to get it to the gatekeeper? So this is something that they're not used to, right? And this is asking people to do things that are outside of their is very difficult for people to overcome. That they have to make the decision to stand up and change the world. Right? They have to do it. All right. This is how we proceed. That's how we break down these the compartmentalized system that is meant to stop people. Now, people in these compartments, they know that they're in that system, and they know that they're supposed to know a certain amount of information. They don't know the whole story. And I think that's why when we're putting this out there in such a way that they're able to now piece things together, there's other people that are piecing things together in the other compartments. They're hearing the same things. So just reach out to them and figure out how to move this to the next step, how to break through. This is what's important. We need to take action. It's the people that are taking action has already caused, the restored republic to stop doing intel, right? They're told it's an information free, it's frozen, it's over. So the rest of them are going to now hold on to it, right? They're going to want to hold on to how do they keep this thing going? How do they make sure that they are going to still be in the position that they've been in, to keep telling people about the GCR happening tomorrow? So.
I mean, so I would, I'll tell you what. There's a couple things that are firing through my mind about this. When it comes to the grand juries, for example, now anybody can call a grand jury.
Yeah.
And I really don't know enough about it to do it intelligently. But I'll tell you what, I'll gladly put my name on it and call it, because there's several things, and I'm sure there's someone out there in the world of common law and natural law who is an absolute expert. And when I go to talk about these things, they cringe in their heart because they know it's so much better than me. So, Dan, I just sent you a number.
I see it.
If you could please call, if you could post that number for people, and anybody who wants to talk to me about any of this, who wants to educate me on this and help me call a grand jury to bring these things, to bring up some charges, because there's some things I would like to talk about, such as I believe, and I'm fairly certain I'm right about this, that the actions that are taking place right now are criminal on a massive scale. The obstruction of justice, the actions they're taking, like Congress trying to hold Barr in contempt, making a mockery, and completely ignoring the laws, completely lying about what's in the Constitution and ignoring it repeatedly, but referencing to it as if they're in agreement with it. There's many things that on that level I know that there's a backbone to these laws, that all of these things are violent actions against the American people, the psyche of the people, the emotional state of the people, the freedoms of the people, and the unalienable rights. And there is nothing we have more sacred than those unalienable rights. And as far as I'm concerned, if it takes some kind of legal action, even if it's just supporting what those who are in this fight and they're doing, to put the people behind it, I would like to organize, if we have to call a grand jury in every county in the country to bring them up on charges, I think it's necessary to do. And I would ask anybody who has the intelligence, the connections, the will, the heart, the knowledge to do this, please contact me. I will put my name on it. Whatever I can do to support it. I will beat it up if I have to, and I will follow what you have way to do it. I'm with you. So please, that is a sincere request on my part. I know I've talked to many of these experts, and they will, put you to sleep with how much they know. And it's sometimes just so hard to understand. I can comprehend what you're saying, and I promise you I can put it out in a way that other people understand, and we can start to grab people in to take action in a very big way. Because I think that, if nothing else, there's no harm that can come from it. That's the first thing. No harm.
Yeah.
And all that comes from it is, if that means you just have people all over the country that are taking action and showing their support for the real Constitution. There's an oath of office, right? There's an oath of office that they completely ignore, and they make a mockery of it, and they laugh at us as they say things like, "Oh, Trump's out of line with the Constitution." No, he's not. No, he is not. And that is how they make a mockery of what the Republic stands for and what we stand for. Because they ignore the truth of it. But if they were taken to task, and the people...
Uh-oh. Well, we lost Tank there. Call back. Very powerful stuff, right? Let's get things changed. let's make it happen. So I just sent Jeannie a message about she left a comment about the SGT report, asking Sean to do a report on the Manna World Holding Trust. I think that's an excellent idea. I had actually thought that was a very good place, and love to hear from Sean at SGT Report. I listen to his stuff all the time, as well as X22 and IPOT, In Pursuit of Truth. So all of those. So I guess Tank is connection is broken for the moment. We'll see if he can get back on. We're just approaching 2 hours. We can also shut it down for today. If someone has any questions, please go ahead and send your questions in. Oh, Tank is coming in. Hello, Tank. Interesting. Maybe not. I'm sorry. It popped up on the on the YouTube video as opposed to on the Hangout screen. So I thought he was joining in. Sorry, that was my mistake. So as I was saying, if you have any questions, please go ahead and ask. I'll go ahead, or if you want to come on, I can post the link. You guys to jump on if you want to say anything. Grabbing the link. Yeah, I'm not going to go through the questions today, or you mean the chat section. But if you want to come on and ask questions, please do, and we will go through this. But we've covered quite a lot. But what this has been from the very beginning of this particular broadcast, from when we started with Tank to even the one that I started with today, and looking at that video about the Great Dictator from Charlie Chaplin, and started there. It's all about us standing up and taking action, and realizing that the world that's been put in place, this whole reality. We'll go back to the Matrix and think about what they're telling us it's all about is the Matrix films. That there is a reality that's put in place there that holds the structure of what we're doing, and we're programmed to do things in a day. It's just what you normally do in your day. You've come to accept that program of getting up at this time, having your coffee, turning on the news, reading the newspaper, heading off to work, doing this, and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Follow the TV news, see what they're saying, go and buy this item. This repeated system, though, is controlled by a very small group. And it's whether you want to look at the evidence coming from this alternative source, or this alternative source, or this alternative source, or this alternative source. People of substance, I always like Karen Hudis, the network of global control. She does it on a community broadcast network, a cable TV show, and then they put it on YouTube. Hello. Hello. That noise is Telegram trying to connect. It's exchanging encryption keys. Oh, maybe we're going to get no. It's just exchanging encryption keys. Oh, they really don't like this information getting out. It's the clowns in America. Yeah, not happening. It's okay. We busted through. We had quite a bit of information got out today. So they've been interfering with his internet connection. That usually is happening when Telegram can't connect. You know what? I'll try something else. Aha. Another back door. Let's see if we can make this happen. Calling. Calling. Space Command to Galactic Unicorn. Come in, Galactic Unicorn. Hello. 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 Ah, see, an alternative channel has now been established. Space Command to Galactic Unicorn.
I just shut down my systems, and then I moved, right? Because what they're doing is they're locking onto my signal, and then they're trying to stop my signal going out, right? They're trying to stop the frequency going out.
Yeah, I think we should do another hour.
Damn right. Listen, I'll tell you what, I want to keep on coming. Our message is like the current in the river. It is current. It just keeps coming, and it'll wear you down. So they can keep trying to shut me off. It doesn't matter. It does not matter.
Well, we can do 8 hours straight on YouTube.
No, I don't know if that's necessary. Sit back after a while.
Yeah, I know. It's a, you know.
I will say though that, but I have other reports coming out too. You know, I did exactly what I said. I put together a report today for people, but I just didn't. Every time I was just about finished with it, you know, somebody could call or something else would happen. But I'm serious about this. Please, anybody out there, you know, the experts, the common law experts, universal law, natural law, who understand, you know, the impact of me and these things. You know, if you understand how to call a grand jury together, if it's in your heart to change the world, if you want to be quiet behind the scenes, just give me some advice. Any of that, I would appreciate. I whatever it takes. If I gotta be out, if I gotta do it, if you just tell me how, just tell me what I gotta do. I'll do the research myself. You don't have to call. You don't have to call, but if you want to change the world, you know, you want to be part of that, please come.
Yeah. To change all the goody two shoes out there that are working on the side of you know, the university professors, to you know, the politicians are preaching all these things about hate and about division and everything else. You want to do something good. This is the time. But get into a position of understanding of what's actually going on. You know, the brainwashing that has occurred, and it's not about the left versus the right. It's not about the up versus the down, right? There is a foe here, but you have to point it out. You want to say it's big business. You want to say it's you know, we'll point at the bankers. Great, let's point at the bankers. It's easy to see that that's where all the money is flowing from, and that's where a problem lies. But it's beyond the bankers. It's the family structures, dynasties that are above those, and there's a level above a level above a level above a level above a level, right? And it's you know, I was bringing up just before, you know, Tank got bumped off the air, was the Karen Hudis and her network of global control. She cites you know, I think it was a Swedish university or something, I forget what it was, but they analyzed all of the corporations, and they all have at the top of the top corporations, 50,000 of them have this interlocking board of directors where one person will be on the board of many companies, right? And then another will be on a board of many companies, but they have interlocking positions. So they all communicate privately but all the other board members don't even know about it, right? So, but they're interlocked with this other company, interlocked with that company, interlocked with that company. So they can move the corporations in a direction. So there is a network of global corporate control that we can point at. We can call it the military industrial complex. We can call it the cabal. We can call it the deep state. But what we know is a system has been built over hundreds of years, we can say thousands of years, to enslave us. We want to call it something else, good. Don't call it slavery. You don't like the term slave, you want to call it, debt bondage. We need to have a different system. We need to take action. We need to stop it, right? And we can do it. There are solutions. I've been working on solutions to create an alternative for a money system that doesn't involve any of their stuff, but only relies on us and the people and the members that are joining us. So that there is alternatives. We have Manna World Holding Trust now ready to give back all the asset that was put into their hands, right? Under agreement, and under agreement they had to, in order for us to make a decision of free will, again, we had to own everything in order to go ahead and agree to give it to them. So it went into the hands of Kim, and she didn't comply. She did not participate with them on their agenda. She did it Gandhi style. So she's in the position.
I need someone to remake that song now. Gangbang style.
Yeah,
style.
I know. I was thinking the same thing. Yeah.
Style, hilarious.
Yeah, Gandhi style, and everyone wearing the Gandhi robes, right, and doing the dance moves.
Yeah, great. Gandhi style. Great. Well, you know what? We can wrap it up.
Okay.
I really do think it's important to be impactful and keep things as tight as possible. Get a message out, share it, and just stay the course. We are winning. We are winning, and you know what? I mean it when I say there's no retreat, no surrender.
Right.
We cannot. I know it's not a fight in a traditional sense, right? It's a war of subtleties. But some of the things that are happening now are so belligerent, they're so disrespectful, they're so obvious. And I will be quite honest with you, I do not care, not even a little bit if I offended you. I would rather have you be offended and remember what I said than think that was a nice show and not remember anything. And I know it doesn't sound like, that doesn't seem like love and light. That is love. Because if you walking into a fire, you rather I yell at you to wake you up so you don't walk into the fire. So I am sharing things, and I'll tell you something, I don't have political affiliation. There are villains on both sides, Republicans and Democrats, and I'm not for either one of them. What I am for is the people. I'm for the people being liberated. I am for the original Constitution, the core principles we were established on. I am for do no harm. And at some point, a child knows when their parent yells at them out of love or when they're being abused. The child knows. Now, everything we do should be out of love. And everything I said tonight was out of love. Now, if you are not involved at that level or you have some correction, you are welcome to contact me and give me a better way and tell me how you could have been more effective if you did this. And you know what? I'll take that correction and I will implement it. I will, because I want to be effective. But I also want you to know, when I'm talking, I know what I'm talking about. And I don't talk about things that I just can't pass. What I am saying is true. We are in the midst of a massive change. And that requires us to change. Played out things that we may have thought previously. We got to find the power in the truth that we are talking about. It is more powerful to be the truth speaking. And when you are the truth speaking, what you say, what you do, what you think, it creates reality. That's the power of the truth. When it's speaking versus just speaking true things. It's a big difference. It's not about the myth. All those other things are just reflections. So if it takes us calling together a grand jury so that we can see people standing up for the debacle that is taking place in our government, and if that helps in some way, and if it doesn't, we won't do it. But if it does help in some way, I think it's necessary. Because whatever we can do on the people level, the government draws its power from the government. So if we want to have an impact, we're the government. So they get their power from us. Now we have to start acting like that. And right now, I can think. And I would love any suggestions from people who understand those things better than me. Please call. I'm an open book. I am a novice, and I don't mind being a novice because as a novice, anybody can teach you things. So I'm very open. So that I promise it's the last thing I'm saying.
Yep. Well, okay. Well, I think this is a perfect time. We can shut it down now. I think that we've got enough info out there for people to digest. So we'll continue tomorrow. So please subscribe, share, contact Go Camelot down below as the information is down below this video, and contact me down below, and we'll continue. We've got a lot to do. Let's get going. Stand up, take action. Yeah, indeed, and we will make us a better place, a place of abundance. Bye-bye for now.
All right, thanks.